We're live.
Yes, we are live at ARVR and EDU live. I love the fact that we're doing this at the end of the month because we get a chance to see people's faces. And oftentimes we're kind of behind, the Twitter wall where we can type whatever we want and feel like there's no consequences. But there are. You get to see people and then you can go haunt them in real life or at conferences or something. But it's really great to get to know them even further, hearing their voices and getting to know them. We have Voxer often in our groups, and we just get a chance to learn a little bit more about people this way. So I like that we're kind of making it more personal with ARVR and EDU. So many different things happening today, tons of different webinars, lots of fun stuff happening, and companies releasing all these great products. And this is a perfect time to talk about this topic of collaboration with our developers, collaboration with companies, and with our educators and even our students. So I'm excited to share this incredible panel. I want to give them each a chance to share a little bit about what they do, who they are, what time it is in their time zone, and then just a little fun thing, a little fun fact. I didn't do this last time, but maybe just share a little fun thing about yourself that somebody else doesn't know. All right, we'll start off with Michael Drezick because he's big screen for me right now.
Hi, everyone. I am Michael Drezick. I am the District Technology Integrator for the Lakeshore Central Schools in Angola, New York. It is currently 9 p.m. Eastern time where I am from. I'm feeling lucky compared to some of our guests that are on the other end here, or they're joining in. And just a huge fan of the AR, VR, and EDU community. It's just what kind of ignites a little bit of a passion in me to get out and just take a risk and try something new with students. And I would say, for me, a fun fact is that I once owned a pet flying squirrel. No one would know that. It's not in my Twitter profile, but I'm just throwing it out there.
That is so random.
I had one of those too.
Another fun fact is Michael is like one of the few in AR, VR, and EDU that will go out for our scavenger hunt during the chat. And what temperature was it? I know it was really cold and it was snowy.
I went out in the middle of a snowstorm. I remember I was hunting for something, and
Waypoint EDU. That's what it was.
Waypoint EDU, but it was I froze, but it was so worth it.
You need to tell Waypoint EDU that. I think they'll appreciate it. All right. Mike, do you want to go ahead and take over next?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so I'm Michael Wróblewski. Mike, I'm gonna be Mike. I'm from Shapes, along with Milena. I'm leading all of our technological efforts there. As Shapes, we are creating 3D geometry apps. And that's all.
All right. And do you have any crazy thing about you that you want to share?
Yeah, maybe the craziest currently thing is that I woke up 30 minutes before because it's 3 a.m. right now. Yeah, it's currently totally dark there. So yeah.
That is a crazy fact.
Yeah, current stuff.
Thank you so much for joining in. All right, Melina, I know that you somewhat got introduced, and it's the same time zone for you. You both are coming in from Poland, and thank you guys so much for joining in. But do you want to share anything else that he left out?
Okay, hi, I'm Milena. I'm a product manager from the same company as Mike, and we both do Shapes geometry apps. I may only add to what Mike said that I had to woke up even 50 minutes earlier because I had to make my makeup. So yeah, it's the same time for me.
Your hair looks awesome, by the way. You're rocking an awesome hairdo there. So I think it was worth it. Thank you guys again for joining in. And we are so honored to have Jeremy joining in from Merge, and really excited to share a little fun giveaway that they're doing right now. We'll be sharing that here in a little while. And Jeremy joined us again last week, and I asked him again tonight because I think it was very fitting on the development side, company side, and certainly representing Merge. And, you three developers or company folks are also working together inside of this Merge Cube. So works out very well. So Jeremy, do you want to share with us, well, what time is it for you? And one crazy fact about yourself as well.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for having me, Jamie. Hi, everyone. Michael, Milena, nice to see you guys again. And other Michael, I used to have a flying squirrel too, so that's kind of funny. My name is Jeremy Kiniski, and I run a lot of the software development teams at Merge, all of the internal and external relationships we have with outside devs and outside partners, like the guys building Shapes. But all of the applications that you see Merge publishing and stuff like that, my team develops all of those, concepts those, and creates those too. And then I also run a lot of like creative and branding and that kind of thing for the company to design. Merge is a very design focused company, so I oversee all of the design that goes out for anything from marketing assets to actual product design and packaging and things like that. So it's kind of my role there. I have a long background in AR and VR and development, so that's hopefully how I can be relevant tonight.
And, you know, Jeremy's like quiet in the background and Fast and Furious, because I hear about his crazy ideas that he throws out there that are like right up our alley. I think all of us can relate to that craziness of like, why don't we try this? Yeah, let's do it. And just go get her. And I just love the fact that you guys have such a rockin' team that is embracing just a different way, a different approach of connecting with people. And you have a great team. It's been an honor getting to know you guys. All right, you guys ready to get this panel started?
Do it.
All right.
Let's go with it.
Okay, first question is, why is AR, VR, and EDU collaboration important? Like, why would this even be a topic that we would even want to touch on?
Well, okay, maybe I start. Because it's mostly my job to cooperate with teachers, with educators. So as I call it, as a co-creation process, because we start from the beginning, from the design, from the perspective of teacher of the problem, the challenge there is to be solved by the technology. So the cooperation, the collaboration, I think is for the both sides very, very much important because, if we don't know the problem, we can't give a solution, and the technology may be the solution for the problems. We can't even think about that they may be solved now. So we do prototypes. So Mike do prototypes. I gather problems that we can give solutions to. So Mike prototype, and we think that when we know the problem, we can get the solution. Mike can prototype it. We can release it online and check how it goes. So I think that also educators gain from that. So they can gain the perspective of what can be done by the technology, by the AR and VR.
Mm-hmm. You guys get most of your ideas, do you think, from collaborating, or do you feel like it's something that you come up with internally and then ask for feedback?
Yeah, it's more like both ways. Because we are iterating on our current ideas, something that we've already done, like Shapes 3D geometry about nets. That was 4 years on the market, and we were looking at it how especially AR, what it introduces into that field. But on the other side, we are heavily inspired by teachers' problems, because there are some totally new fields that get discovered that can be solved with AR, and that thing is important, because we look at different problems that couldn't be solved previously, like I don't know, maybe identifying images through a camera. What's on the camera?
Yeah.
What's behind the camera of a phone? So previously technology struggled with identifying that, and as a space we exist in. So that mind shift gets new problems arise, and new problems that can be solved with technology.
Mm-hmm. Michael, or I saw Jeremy unmute first. So Jeremy, do you want to add some input there on your end as far as how your product really adjusts or adds?
Yeah, Jamie, I was going to answer your question, around, is it like this brilliant idea that we have, or is it like that we're soliciting ideas? And, I think people like Mike and myself, we tend to think we have brilliant ideas, and we try our best to implement them. And a lot of times we do, but what really makes it applicable is when we can collaborate with teachers and pull in what, all the things that are going to matter to them in the classroom,
right.
And tech coordinators, and make sure that when they're implementing it, it all makes sense. And really, those are all the fine details that are going to make our product successful. I talked to 4 different educators today, two third grade teachers and 2 at the tech district level. And I was on phone calls with them today, and they were saying, they gave me an example of this new math thing that they had just implemented. And they're like, it seemed cool. It seemed really nice. But once we actually got it in the classroom, it missed like 11 of their 15 like core things they had to cover for not core, probably not the word I should use, but
standards.
They're standards. And so ultimately it's like what we don't want to fall into is that trap of like coming up with, I'm sure the product's a great product, but at the end of the day, if it doesn't serve the needs of the people using it, then kind of what's the point, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
that's why we try to involve teachers so much in everything we're building.
That's a good call.
I mean, and that's what I was going to kind of say was, just that, a lot of the developers can do things that a teacher could never do, and the teachers are living in another realm in the classroom, and to be able to kind of get on the same page and to have a shared vision over what something could look like. And I think, a teacher might have, and I knows exactly what they need for their students, and, then the developers can make that happen or come to life. So I think just valuing that feedback, and for teachers to know, I know I'm much more likely to use a tool when I know that I can have that point of contact, and I know that people on the other end are listening. So, as a tech coordinator, I kind of serve as a voice of some of the teachers. I have be able to have a call with someone like Jeremy and kind of express the needs of our teachers. I think it's just amazing that people are out there listening.
Well, and I'll speak from my perspective that I meet with Mike and Melina every week. And we get together and we chat and talk about what kind of devices are in the classroom, where are the struggles that they may face with this product, and are we really meeting the needs? And it's like even just on the outside, right? And trying to volunteer. And I'm sure, Michael, you can relate to this, but it's like you're trying to be a voice for educators that you talk to. So when I'm sharing this, I hear their feedback and I try to bring it back. Oh, they would love to see this. And I think that to some extent, to be involved and participate in what that product turns out like, I think it's really satisfying as educators to say, okay, like you said, they listen. It's worth our time because it's something that is really going to impact the classroom. And I think even taking that to the next level, what do you see as a company? And this is totally off the cuff here, guys. So what do you think about collaborating with students? So instead of it being something where you're getting feedback from just the educators, where is the value, or is there value in you actually collaborating with students directly?
I could just speak for our students. I just know when you can get it into their hands, they don't hold back. They are 100% honest.
Yeah.
A teacher might, sugarcoat something here or there. The kids are the best. And in the experiences that we've actually had different tech companies or, an app or a website come into our classroom and do some of the work with kids. And I think it opens their eyes to some things. And then, they're able to have those conversations, or they're asking our kids questions, and you could tell that they're thinking of things just from being there right there in the moment with those kids. Mm-hmm. I think the kids are the main, depending on what tool you have and what your aim is, but the kids are probably the main user of the tool. So I think just valuing their voice is so important. And it's just, those are the best days for me when we've had visitors come into our school. I'll throw a few out. We had Bunsey come to our school, and they pushed in and did some work with our class, with our students. And I mean, the kids had a blast. And I know they walked away with so many notes and so many things that the kids shared with them through the day that I could have never expressed on my own as a teacher.
It's so funny. How many years was I in the classroom where I never talked to a single company? The only time I ever heard from companies is at conferences, and it was like, hey, let me bring you out to dinner just to make sure we get you picking up subscription again the next year, So it was like their only time they ever talked to you, and the only thing they wanted to know was, are you going to continue to flip the bill? And so it was like, that was a weird thing. And you felt like you were being sold to. And in education, it's so dirty, because it's like, I'm not really doing this to profit. I'm doing this because I care about the students. So it was very like contradictory to a typical educator. But I remember there was this one product, I'm totally not going to call them out on here, but there was this one product that I used as punishment. So in math, if the kids were bad, I'm like, I'm about to put you on. And they were like, okay, miss, I won't do, all right, fine. I was like, I will put you on that. I threatened them with that program. So finally I had a chance to meet these people. Actually, one of the people I worked with, she used to work and say, oh yeah, we did this. And I was like, oh, that was a terrible product. It was good for curriculum. They were like, oh, it aligns with this and this, but it was like every kid hated it. So you can hit the market with those educators, but boy, you do it wrong with the kids, forget it. You got to get their investment. So that's a good point.
Yeah, I've got a 10-year-old son, so he's on the forefront of testing every single thing. So yeah, for me, it's like for what we do is like the perfect age of creating what I'd like him to use in the classroom, and every feature, every AR app we do, he's the first tester. He wants to be called as a first tester there. But that's the for me personally, it's the inspiration and the first validation if he can grasp it. And for example, I've built AR demo for what we could do with ARKit on iPads in the context of 3D geometry. I've built a tool in AR to make cross sections and in a really easily way, and he could grasp that as a like a natural thing because it was very intuitive from the beginning, and it was like a plane before in front of an iPad that could cut the solid that was on his desk. So it was very natural. So he could just grasp it, and that's why I think that EdTech should be very intuitive from the user's perspective, from the student perspective.
Good point.
Yeah, that's the very, very important thing. That's as you know, it's very easily to be forgotten.
Mm-hmm. My daughter loves your product, by the way. She absolutely loves the shapes because she's in geometry, and she definitely was like, whoa, she saw your post on Facebook and told me about it. And she's like, Mom, you need to check out the shapes. And I was like, I have. It's cool, huh?
It's very cool. And
Anyway.
some time ago, we had an escape room for children from middle school.
Mm-hmm.
And just like the other demo lessons, because sometimes we have demo lessons at school, so these are best times for me. It's like I can watch them using our apps and having these crazy ideas. So we can do this cross section better and something like this. And we had this escape room with our apps with AR, merge cubes, and we had a tilt brush too. So it was so crazy that they made this mind shift between 2D and 3D so quickly. So they had to draw the 3D shape. As I remember, it was a pyramid, a square pyramid. And they drew it all around. So they were inside the 3D shape. It was stuck from the beginning, but they were inside. And they were so amazed. Oh, that's how it could come inside. That's so cool. It was somehow harder for the teachers because we had this escape room like a month earlier for teachers, and we saw teachers drawing most of the time 2D in front of them, and we said, yeah, you can draw it wherever you want. Wow, 3D shape and 3D, wow. And yeah, it's so crazy to see people see this mind shift between 2D and 3D. It's awesome.
Jeremy, have you ever hit it home on the Merge Cube with kids, but not with teachers? Like, have you ever found something that was like teachers disregarded, but the students were really digging it?
Good question. I mean, we haven't tested a lot of our, a lot of the stuff that's publicly available now is more, to be fair, more game focused, because that was the original intent. We're following up soon this coming early 19 with much more educational content that should be exciting. But I would say probably some of the more game-like things that maybe teachers have a little less time, a little less ability to apply to some sort of curriculum might fit that description. But the comment I was going to make was kind of, we're in the middle of testing like almost 3 different groups of people. It's like we're talking to teachers about curriculum and really what their standards are in the subjects that they're teaching for whatever grade they're teaching. And then, of course, we're testing with the kids because that's mainly who we usually test with, and making sure that what we're building is fun and exciting for them. But then we're also testing with like the people implementing the tech coordinators and the people doing all of that stuff to make sure that the user flow for all that and the administration for that works too. So it's actually quite dynamic, this new stuff we're working on now, because we're testing 3 minimum groups of people. Sometimes there's hybrids in there too. So
yeah, very cool. Well, okay, I'm going to move on to the next question because there's just a million, right? So what's this is going to be great with the shapes folks. What is the craziest idea that you've received or given for a product? So on the developer side, what's the craziest idea that you have, been asked to do that either you did or you didn't do, either way? And then maybe Michael, you can share the craziest idea you've ever asked a company, and then you can share if they actually did it. Anybody want to go first?
Okay, Jamie, you know this this story because it's because of you. As we have our testers group, and well, Jamie is like a leader of our testers group. She gets our early prototypes, usually the first, and we had this prototype of the shapes 3D drawing with the Merge Cube, and it was an early prototype, so obviously with some bugs. So I don't know what you did, but when we discussed it and what's your feeling about it, you said it's like it's great. It's from the inside of 3D shape. It's VR, and but I don't know how to put this, how to work with this VR. But it's a VR, and it was obviously a Merge Cube, so AR. So it was like we are talking to you, and what? What? How come?
And I'm telling everybody on social media, you can go check out this VR app. And they're like, stop! It's not VR.
Yeah, I checked that tweet. It's like, what VR did you get?
Okay, Mike, you can take it from there because maybe you can say what went wrong.
Yeah, so basically to spoil the story now. It was the app didn't find the Merge Cube yet, didn't identify it, so it just displayed the the solid from the same place as the camera is. So it was just inside of the camera, just outside of, like in the same place. So whenever you looked,
you were inside the cube looking around.
The point of view of the app was inside the cube. So you looked to the left, there was the left side, to the right side. So it's just you were able to be in.
I was in all those shapes. It was awesome. I think you guys need to do VR. That's my recommendation.
Yeah, it was Shapes 360. Our new upcoming app.
Crazy request. Yeah.
I've tried to recommend it and they're like, no, we're not doing that. Michael or Jeremy, can you guys think of the craziest recommendation or that you gave or received?
I'll let Michael go. I'll go at the end.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know how crazy of a recommendation it was, but one of the things that I thought it would be neat to have is to have video playing within VR content, inside of the creation tool. So like, I would like for the kids to be able to embed a YouTube video. Like in some cases we were able to upload a still image or a GIF, but not an actual video. So that was my ask, and I'm still waiting to see if that'll work out. But I think that there's some potential for that if you can, not that anyone's going to want to watch a full blown movie in full VR like that. It's a side of an educational experience, but possibly a short clip. And then they might be able to move from that video clip then into another something to interact with.
Yeah. I love it. That's a really cool idea.
Yeah, I know Kevin Chaya was working on something like that. The people who built the Moment app for I was kind of looking through our database to see like what some of the goofier requests we've gotten. The way you have to sign up to develop on the Cube, you have to kind of fill out just a little information about what you want to build and that kind of stuff. So I was trying to buy some time to search through. I didn't see anything like super crazy, and probably some of the more crazy things aren't appropriate to talk about on any kind of live anything. But I was going to mention, I was about to mention one thing that we did get, and I just totally lost my train of thought. Oh, one of the things that we saw from a developer up in Indy that was kind of cool. He had turned the Cube essentially into like an Alexa. Mm-hmm. So it would play like Spotify and stuff like that. So that's kind of cool. It's a little weird because it doesn't actually do that. In that use case, it's
only what you see. It's not what it is.
Alexa's cool because it actually has a physical speaker. So I thought that was kind of a strange use case, but
that is cool. Weird. You know what I recommended to the HoloGlobe guys? We were chatting at ISTE and at the booth, and I don't even know how the conversation got started, but we were talking about turning the cubes into video chats. So like right now we can actually be watching all of our faces on the cube and like it was like, wouldn't that be so cool? Like, let me call Melina, and it's just like, that would just be so awesome to see somebody's face in there. I don't know if you can do it in YouTube. Why can't you embed YouTube, right? If we're live streaming, why couldn't that happen? So he'll never do it. I also asked for AR from CoSpaces a long time ago. And sure enough, here we are. CoSpaces finally released their AR. That was the best.
So wasn't that crazy?
I know. It wasn't that. I know. I was like, if you can do all this stuff on VR, I'm sure you could do this stuff in AR. All right. Final thoughts. I want you to give a shout out to somebody that you've been connected to. So it doesn't necessarily have to be somebody on social media. But Michael, you can share out from a company perspective, a developer perspective that you connect with that's really heard you out. And then from Jeremy, Melina, and Mike, if you guys want to share out from an educator perspective of somebody that you can contact and really has supported you in this journey.
Yeah, I could start out. I've just, for me, so many, whether it's been through being an educator ambassador for different ed tech companies, or for using the tool in my classroom. But any time that within that product, sometimes there's like a live chat feature, or I could reach out and I get a response really quick. That's always huge for me. Companies that you can reach out to and you're not waiting 3, 4, 5 days to hear back. That is like gold to me, because it keeps our teachers happy. I'd give a shout out to people at Flipgrid or Buncee, or, they'll jump on a call with you in a reasonable amount of time and just, they want to listen. So, I have CoSpaces too, has been one that has been great in the past. Taking some feedback.
They're getting too busy. We got to get them back on solid ground here.
Yeah. So, but the great thing is I don't really have a lot of negative experiences in my work as a tech integrator. Yeah. They really, I think that's why the companies that are around now is that they do listen and they want to push forward. So, just a shout out to any company that is willing to listen and that responds relatively quickly.
Yeah, that's so true. And you're connected to, I know that we've been connected to some of similar companies with ed tech stuff. I'm trying to think of how I first got connected to you. I'm guessing one of the virtual events is when it started, maybe through Mary Ellis. But yeah, it's really neat because even through the companies, you get connected to other educators. So you guys are actually building PLNs for us, and I think that's really powerful.
And likewise within those educator communities, the educators are sharing out ideas for using this technology that I wouldn't have thought of. And that's where the magic happens,
Yeah, no kidding. That's the truth. I've learned a lot. And you know what? I've grown even on the Facebook groups. I was never a Facebook group fan. Watching what Merge did with Facebook actually changed my perspective. So even just on social media front and how to utilize social media, it's really changed how I view because of how these companies and Shapes community in there and really thinking about it differently. I think it's really powerful. Good point. Anybody else want to share?
I could share one real quick. I'm gonna give, I guess, a quick shout out to the people I talked to today because they were super helpful. We had a really fun conversation around one of the new products we're building specifically for education. So we talked to two third grade teachers, Emily and Angie, today, and they were super, super helpful. And then we also talked to Emily and Kristen from the Tulsa STEM Alliance in Oklahoma. And so they've been kind of giving us some insight into, how we should organize some of our source material and stuff like that. And then also Mike and Nate from Open Source Lab have been doing some really cool stuff with the Cube and finding interesting use cases and stuff like that. And so every now and then they're sending in some cool lesson ideas, lesson plans and stuff too. So
yeah,
they're always willing to take a call, which is appreciated.
Yeah, that's very cool. Very cool. Michael, Melina.
Yeah, I wanted
you guys awake?
I wanted to thanks Olympia. She is our crazy teacher educator from elementary school, and she taught us totally different perspective, and she made a solid foundation for Shapes 3D drawing because from her perspective, she made it all for us to see her perspective, and she kept bringing these crazy models of 3D shapes to our design workshops to let us see how children are being taught 3D shapes from the first time. So it was because of her the Shapes 3D drawing now is how it looks like. And I also wanted to say that I had a wonderful experience during the ST, and because I met wonderful educators like Laura. She came to me the third day of ST to the Merge VR booth, and she looked at Shapes and she said, "It is the best thing I saw at ST till now." So it was like this feedback, this gave me perspective, and the way she explained why she feels this way, because how it's important, how these kind of tools are important for her and for math teachers. It gave me this mind shift that we really are able to change the world. And I also wanted to thank Tonya James because she made my ST time great, and she is a great, wonderful teacher from Utah. She teaches second grades
All right.
Yeah, I like to give thanks to Steve Bambury because he enables like us to meet with the community, but in VR. He brought the VR community of educators. He's got that panels which are bi-monthly usually, and it's like the way to see how conferences, how meetings could look like in VR, and that's something that was something really new for me, because usually when I go to a conference, especially to the US, it's like a whole 4 or 5 days out of my life. Now I can just get back like half an hour earlier from work, put on the VR headset, and I'm there. And after the conference, I can just get back and just chill. So so changing that perspective, how we as educators, how we can meet with educators and all other people is like just amazing.
Yeah, and I'm going to just share out real quick. Sebastian has been posting. Thank you so much, Sebastian, for sharing that out. We had David Lockett join in. Probably many of you guys know David Lockett. And he was saying, would it be possible to build a scalable ISS model for use within the Merge Cube, which would be kind of cool. So the International Space Station would be awesome to see. And might already be in the works. You never know, David. I'll let Jeremy see if he wants to give us any hints. And then Katie said, yes, she wanted to see my face and Michael Drezik's face on her Merge Cube. So we'll make that happen, Katie. We will definitely. And then everybody's saying they want their panelists on Merge Cubes. As I could turn the cube, I can chat and hear from others. So you know what? That idea is out there now. Now it has to happen.
Remember, you're limited to only 6 panelists. So
yeah. Yeah, exactly. Only 6 people can come in. We could double people up, like split their faces or something. Half one face.
Or have another 6 new people.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. All right. I think we came up with some pretty cool ideas tonight. And I think it was a good conversation. It was necessary. And I think it's important to recognize how these companies and educators really, it is important for us to all work together. It's the best for our kids, of course, and them getting the opportunities and having a voice for them, I think is really important. And I couldn't agree more with Michael. It's like the best feeling in the world when you get that immediate feedback when you really need it. As a matter of fact, today I reached out to Merge and said, hey, I'm on this panel, and there was like 900 people registered for this webinar, or not even a panel. It was an interview on Learning Transported for the book. And I said, there's been like 900 people registered. That's pretty awesome. I'm sending a text over to Steve at Merge, and he's like, hey, what if we did a giveaway? It's like minutes before the live event. And so I'm like, okay, sounds great. So we're like texting each other back and forth. We talked about this awesome giveaway. I tried to post it, but I also tried to post it with, let's see if it populated yet. I did try to post something on social media. Let's see if it populated. It kept saying 0%, which is never a good sign. I'm going to go ahead and post this in here on Twitter right now, though, for you to be able to share, be a part, and possibly win a Merge Cube Class Pack giveaway. And I'm just going to go ahead and just post it like it is without any image, video, because I tried to populate a fun little video in there, but that took too long with Twitter. So here we go. I'm posting it right now, guys, and you can join in the group and you have a chance to win even more, because in their Facebook group, they're going to have that contest going on. So right now you can go in and get some goggles. You can get a class pack, for your classroom. And I believe, Jeremy, I don't know if they looped you into this detail because it was very last minute, but I think they might be making that decision by tomorrow morning. So definitely get in there and have a chance to win some cubes. And that also went out to those folks that joined in today in that webinar with EdWeb, which was really good. If you guys are interested in getting some good webinars, they're free. It was awesome. So, all right, guys, that is it for tonight. It's 8:40. I always keep this group late because I just don't want to stop talking. And Jeremy, again, thank you for sponsoring. Thank you to Merge for sponsoring ARVR and EDU Live. It gives us a chance to get in and do this and have that stored and shared and saved. And thank you again, panelists. I owe Mike and Melina big time for asking him to come in at 3 a.m. And Michael Drezik, he got his kids to bed, so I don't feel so bad. And he's wearing his ARVR and EDU t-shirt. Bonus points. So that was perfect. And again, thank you guys so much for joining in. And those of you that were watching, great topics coming up ahead for future live events. I already have my mind set on a whole year of calendar stuff for different topics and discussions that I think are important that we need to discuss and have a chance to talk to each other live like this. So looking forward to it. Again, guys, thank you so much for joining in. Have an awesome night. All right, bye-bye.
Bye, guys.